Good evening. What a wonderful crowd. Thank you so much. A warm welcome to each and every one of you for joining us here tonight. You are in for a treat. This is our holiday celebrating with the community, and you will be gifted with some of the local artisans and talent. So sit back and relax and enjoy this year's Hartland Holiday Show. And our wonderful MC, RJ, who is last minute standing in for unfortunate illness, but we appreciate him tremendously. Thank you, RJ.
Thanks, Julie. Thank you, everybody who's here tonight, for getting out of your comfy clothes, dusting off the car, putting on your best duds, and showing up for what we hope will be a really beautiful coming together for the community, because it's really by, for, and about you. This truly beautiful community called Hartland. And that's really all I want to say. So thank you very, very much for being here and for your contributions up front to the food bank. We're not going to waste any time getting into this evening of entertainment because we are chock full of some of the best entertainment you're going to see this side of the Connecticut River. Okay? So, with that in mind, let's get right to it. In fact, let's give everyone who's showing up tonight, including yourselves, a big old round of applause right away. That's what I'm talking about. Thanks, everybody. Let me find my place. Ah, yes. You're in for a treat. Our first act is a classically trained concert pianist who also tutors privately out of her house on Rice Road, as well as throughout the Upper Valley, including the Upper Valley Music Center. And before I go any further, I'd like to suggest that we all turn off our cell phones right now. I'm just having an image of one going off sometime in the near future. Call me clairvoyant, but... So let's shut those phones off. And at the end of this evening's show, you'll understand the irony of that particular act. In the meantime, I'm going to reintroduce our first act because she's that special. It's Alison Cheroff, everybody. Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you, Allison. The title of that piece is called Chopin's Nocturne Number 20 in C sharp minor. Moving right along, we have before you a world-renowned baker. Lives locally. His name is Jeffrey Hamelman. Jeffrey is a well-known baker, but you may remember him as the guy who read a poem by John Donne at last year's show. This year, he's going to read his own verses in the form of haiku. Jeffrey Hamilton.
Thank you very much, RJ, but I'm afraid my name is no longer Jeffrey. You see, I was having a visit with a very dear friend last week. We went to school together. His name is Chuck. So I went to England to his home, which is called Buckingham Palace. Some of you may know him as King Charles. Well, to me, he'll always just be Chuck. And we were having a spot of tea, and he leaned over and he said to me, "From now on, you will always be called Sir Jeffrey." So please remember that, RJ, for the future. Yes. Now, my wife is one of the people who have put together this show. She's an Italian woman. If you know anything about the Italian language, it's rubbish. You see, there's a law that every word has to end in a vowel, right? I'm from England. We have many splendid words that end in consonants. But in Italy, no. They're all vowels. So we have things like frappuccino, espresso, mocha latte. Well, my wife's name is Chio Kaneko. You hear the vowels, of course. And every time she meets someone new, she says to them, "My name is Chio Kaneko." And invariably, they offer her a handkerchief because they're sure she has something stuck to her fingers. Well, I told her that I was going to be performing what are known as haiku. If you don't know what haiku are, they're a very old form of poetry that comes from Japan. And they all have this in common. They're all comprised of 3 lines. Now, tell me, what kind of poet runs out of ideas after 3 lines? Well, not only that, you see, each line is very rigid. The first line is always comprised of 5 syllables. The second line, 7 syllables. And the third line, 5 syllables again. I get it. They're all prime numbers. I get that. But really, it's so rigid. So I decided, well, I'll try this haiku business, but I'll improve upon it. I'll keep with the prime numbers, but I know I can do better than those Japanese. So I wrote a haiku that was comprised of 5 syllables in the first line, followed by 7 syllables, and sticking with the prime number idea, I went to 13 syllables. It wasn't very good. So I tried another one. It was 5, 7, and 23. It was a little better, but still not good enough. Well, then I said, I've got a great idea. So I wrote another haiku that I almost finished. It was comprised of 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and 1,277 syllables. And everything was going great until I ran out of ink. So I thought, well, what can I do for the holiday show? Well, I've just written a compendium, 7 volumes, about the history of Hartland. And I thought, well, maybe I can talk about a couple of things that I've put into my books. And so I thought, I'll go back to the very, very beginnings of our town. Now, back in the early days, there was no 3 corners. There was no 4 corners. In fact, there were no corners at all. The reason for that was because there were no roads. But what there were many, many, many skunks. The town was absolutely overrun with skunks. There were so many skunks that there was not enough food for the skunks to eat. And so scientifically, they were called hollow skunks. Around this time, there was an enterprising young fellow in town, and he decided he would start a food business. And he named it the Hollow Skunk Tavern. There were 2 things on the menu. There was beer, and there was grilled hollow skunk. Now, he made a fortune because everyone loved the grilled hollow skunk, because there was such a beautiful contrast between the highly aromatic fur and the beautiful crunch of the bones. Well, yes, and also around this time there was a young fellow named Billy. He was rather uppity, and he insisted that everyone call him William. His last name was Shakespeare, but he was only known as Billy to the townspeople. Well, this Shakespeare chap, he was known for two things. One, he was known for writing sonnets, and he was known for writing plays. Now, if you know anything about sonnets, this is the English language equivalence of haiku. Because they also have to obey these silly laws. Every sonnet has to have 14 lines, and they have this very rigid rhyme scheme that goes something like A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, and G, G. Very unimaginative, because what about M? What about P? Why can't they get into it? No. Well, so his sonnets were rubbish, but he wrote some very, very well-known plays. Now, while I was researching my 7-volume compendium of the history of Hartland, I was digging up some of the floorboards in the Hollow Skunk Tavern, and what did I discover? I discovered the original, yes, the original manuscript of one of Billy's plays. Today, most people refer to it as Macbeth, but the original manuscript, the title was Mac and Beth. No, Macbeth, it sounds like you're ordering a hamburger. Mac and Beth was the original title because it was about two main characters. There was Lord Mac and Lady Beth, right? So, around this time at the Hollow Skunk Tavern, there was this pesky little dog named Spot. And Spot was always there, and he was always getting in somebody's way. Well, Billy was writing his play Mac and Beth one morning when this measly little mutt was nibbling on Billy's britches, and it so enraged him that he picked up the dog, opened the door, and hurled the dog all the way across into the brook while he was shouting, "Out, out, damn Spot!" And he said, well, that's a very good line, so I will let Lady Beth have that line, right? So that was that. And then, once again, while I was digging through some of the floorboards of the Hollow Skunk, I came with another original manuscript from Billy. And this was for a play that was called Hamlet. Okay? It wasn't about our dear little town, no. It was about this broody chap he fashioned himself a philosopher or something. He'd walk around talking to skulls and things like this. And now, Billy would arrive at the tavern when it opened at 8 o'clock in the morning. And by the time lunch came around, he had 8 or 9 tankards of ale. And one day he was busy writing, and all was going very well until he realized that his bladder was about to burst. And he didn't know what to do. He didn't want to leave off the writing, but his bladder was ready to burst. And he was very, very reluctant to climb the stairs to the toilets in the tavern because they're very steep. In fact, they're very similar to the stairs that lead up to our town hall, which may or may not be in compliance with state building codes. But that's another matter. So poor Billy is wanting to just stay with his writing, but his bladder is bursting. So he looks up and he says, "To pee or not to pee? That is the question." And so you see, these are just 2 examples from my 7-volume compendium of the history of Hartland. Now, I don't want to have a row with my wife when we get home, and so I think it would be rather prudent if I did recite a haiku that I've written. And it goes like this. The wind roars through leaves, then vanishes. Who am I to think I'm different? Tut-tut, cheerio.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey. Awesome. Jeffrey's going to be at Stand Up New York. Is it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, or just? Wonderful stuff. Thank you so much. Okay, our next offering is none other than Emma Caffrey, accompanied by Janet Hughes and Jim Dreisch. Emma closed last year's show, by the way, with Oh Holy Night, which she'll be reprising a little bit later on tonight. But first, she is going to showcase her theatrical side with Santa Baby, accompanied by Janet and Jim. How about a round of applause before she goes?
Christmas list. I think you should, Santa cutie. I want a yacht, and really that's not a lot. I'll wait up for you, dear Santa baby, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa cutie. Tonight.
Was that a sing-along, or were we supposed to come in?
No, she really couldn't remember what else she wanted.
It was absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, moving right along. Now, yes, sneaking up behind me, we have Sharon Blake and Lily Grace. Sharon is going to present Miss Minnie Pearl Comes to Hartland with her friend Lily Grace, who's almost 12 years old and is providing sidekick assistance. Okay, so let's give it up for them.
My name is Miss Minnie Pearl. I is from Little Rock, Arkansas. And I is up here on a mission to defend the reputation of a poor marsupial who's very misunderstood. I speak of the opossum. Now, you know you have possums around here. You've seen them. Generally, you see them in the road or right beside the road. They look pretty dead. I'm sure they are. But you have them here. And some folks will say, don't them things belong down south? And what are they doing up here? And how did they get here? Other folks will say, oh, it's global warming. It is climate change. And those other guys will say, ain't no such a thing. But I'm here to tell you, those little guys did come up to Hartland, Vermont, and there's a story, and I'm going to tell you that story. It was many years ago in Alabama. It was the night before Christmas, and all through the field, there was not a creature stirring except Ma and Pa possum, some adventurous pilgrim-type possums. They were uneasy that night. Pa says, I got this feeling deep in my bones. It's time to migrate. And Ma says, you know, Pa, I got that same feeling in my bones too. It's time to migrate north. And so they decided they were going to migrate, but then they were kind of stumped. They said, well, just how are we going to carry that off? We have no wheels. We don't have any friends with wheels, and our legs are pretty darn short. But then it came to them. We know we can hitchhike. And so they did. They stuck up their thumbs and said a little prayer. And then they settled back because there weren't very many vehicles that came through their field. They thought it was going to be a bit. Oh, wait. But sooner than you could say Jack Frost, a stiff wind blew through from the north, and it carried St. Nicholas and his sleigh and his 9 prancing reindeer too. So they pulled in close to the field. Santa leaned out and said, "What's up, little guys? do you need a lift? And they said, we do. He said, well, hop on in. And off they flew. On the way, they said, Santa, we want to go way north. Can you take us there? But we don't want to go as far as Canada, just way north. And Santa says, I know just the place. I know of this sweet little town in a very sweet little state in the whole USA. And on they went, and before they knew it, he was dropping them off right here, close to Damon Hall. And they hopped out and looked around, and their eyes grew wide. They thought, oh, this is really quite the place. It's got charm. It's got community. We're going to make this place our home, but we better explore it first. So they went to North Hartland, Hartland Center, 3 corners, 4 corners, Skunk Hollow, Cobb Hill, and they decided, yes, this is it. We're going to burrow ourselves in and get all comfy cozy and start making babies. 13 little Joeys at a clip. And then 13 more right after. And they all adjusted well to Hartland. So as of today, yeah, they have quite a few descendants. But they've been good at adjusting for a long time. Possums have been living on this earth for over 60 million years. Long before dinosaurs. And very much longer than us. So they're well established, you could say. And now they do things to help out Hartland. They scoop up thousands upon thousands of ticks, fleas, slugs, roaches. And when they're done, they don't get any thanks for it either. They get blamed for missing chickens. They get blamed for rabies, which is rarely the case. But the other thing that's really interesting about possums is that they have an artistic side. They do. And most of you have not heard of their artistic side probably, but they keep it undercover. So I brought 5 little possums with me tonight. They're not alive. I call them imposter possums because if I were to bring live ones, I might be arrested by the game warden because he does not think fondly of people who take in wild animals and make them pets. So here they come. I'm going to call on my lovely young assistant, Miss Lily, to bring them out. Oh, God.
Hi. As you can tell, we have a possum family here today. So tonight we have with us Uncle Poindexter, who...
Uncle Poindexter, he's the religious type. He wrote this tome, Righteousness on Earth.
Then we have Auntie Penelope, who she's quite the activist.
Yes, Aunt Penelope, she is a feminist, activist, And this is one of her quotes. "Women's is gonna rule the world." Yeah, they is. Women's is gonna rule the world. And she also says, "Get out and vote. Vote, damn it. And vote carefully."
Anyway, then we have the Possum Sisterhood, Peaches, Parsnip, and Poppy, who, as well as being quite photogenic, also write many books, such as 10 Steps to a Positive Lifestyle, which is a self-help book.
And last but not least, they have their own newspaper. It's a little thin, but it's an underground press, the Underground Possum Press. So at this point in time, I must make my disclaimer statement. Much of what you have heard here tonight may not be 100% actual truth. But some of it is. But be that as it may, we want to wish you a positively righteous season.
Thank you so much. That was awesome, Sharon. One more time for Sharon Blake, and that was really great. I mean, doesn't everybody have aunts and uncles hanging upside down in their greenhouse somewhere on their property? I know I do. Next up, Sherry Altman and Tom Graham. This wife and husband duo are going to be performing two songs. One is entitled "Listen, the Snow is Falling" by Yoko Ono, and the other is "Jingle Bell Rock." Sherry, by the way, is an artist whose primary form of expression is poetry, among other things. She's also the newest HCA board member, and Tom, her husband, is the brewmaster at Harpoon Brewery. How about a nice warm-up?
Bear with us, we have to set up the amp.
Well, hello, Hartland. How are you doing down there? And out there. We're Sherry and Tom. We're happy to be here. We have a special place in our heart for Damon Hall because we were married right there 15 years ago. Give or take. We're going to sing two of our holiday favorites.
So yeah, we're going to start with Yoko Ono's song, "Listen, the Snow is Falling." And the second song, if you know the words, which we think you will, we hope that you will sing along.
Listen, the snow is falling over town. Listen, the snow is falling everywhere. Between Damon Hall and between Maxwell. Listen, the snow snow is falling everywhere. Between your bed and mine, and between your head and my mind. Listen, the snow is falling over town. Between 5 and the river, between Hartland and Windsor, between your love and mine. Listen, the snow is falling everywhere. Snowflake, snowfall, snowfluff. Listen, listen. Hey Sherry,
Hey.
how are you?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing okay. What would you like for Christmas this year?
I think I want some books.
Books? Again?
You
Don't
like what you
you
like?
have enough already?
Never. How about you? What do you want this year?
I want to rock.
Oh, well, guess what? You're in luck. I have a very fine specimen.
Well, it is a beaut. This is a nice rock. I think there's been a misunderstanding, Sherry. What I said was, I want to rock. Jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing up bushes of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime and jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air. What a bright time, it's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go down in one horse sleigh. Get up, jingle horse, get up and jingle around the block. Mix and mingle in the jingling beat. That's the Jingle Bell Rock. Right time, it's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Get up, jingle horse, pick up your feet, jingle around the clock. Mix and mingle in the jingling beat. That's the jingle bell.
That's the jingle bell.
That's the Jingle Bell Rock. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Wow. Okay. Thank you, Tom and Sherry. Moving right along here, Mr. Bill Donahue. Bill was Hartland's town moderator for 12 years. In his quote-unquote retirement, he's busier than ever with many activities, including singing and writing his memoirs, which are based on his time in the Marine Corps while he was in the Vietnam War. And tonight, he's going to read a poem by William Allingham entitled The Fairies. Please give Bill a warm welcome, everybody.
This poem was first published in 1850. The poet William Allingham was a Scotsman, and his poetry tends to have a lot of Scottish lore and tradition and geography in it. It has nothing to do with Christmas. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we daren't go a-hunting for fear of little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and a white owl's feather. Down along the rocky shore, some make their home. They live on crispy pancakes of yellow tide foam. Some live in the reeds of the black mountain lake, with frogs for their watchdogs, all night awake. High on a hilltop, the old king sits. He is now so old and gray, he's nigh lost his wits. On a bridge of white mist, the column-kill he crosses on his stately journey from Slippery to Ross's. Or going up with music on cold, starry nights to sup with the queen of the gay northern lights. They stole little Bridget 7 years long. When she came down again, her friends were all gone. They took her lightly back between the evening and the morrow. They thought that she was fast asleep, but she was dead with sorrow. They have kept her ever since, deep within the lake, on a bed of fig leaves, watching till she wake. By the craggy hillside, through the mosses bare, they have planted thorn trees for their pleasure here and there. Is any man so daring as dig them up in spite? He will find their sharpest thorns in his bed at night. Up the airy mountain, down the rushy glen, we daren't go a-hunting for fear of little men. Wee folk, good folk, trooping all together, green jacket, red cap, and a white owl's feather.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Bill. Okay, so up next, we have Alison Cheroff back, again joined by her husband Michael on the guitar, and their neighbor across the hill on County Road, Chiho. And this trio is going to be performing a well-known Puccini opera, aria, entitled O mio babbino caro. How about a little applause for these guys?
While we're waiting, initially when we talked about doing something together, because we're neighbors, sometimes we like to do things together. But I was not feeling really holiday. And initially I said, can I do Mahler's I'm Lost to the World? and Alice and Michael kind of talked me out of it. So instead, we're doing just, this is one of the most popular opera arias of all time. Puccini apparently composed 1918, right at the heel of a pandemic. over 100 years ago. And this was, I think, his swan song opera. Well, and the meaning is basically it's a comedy, but this song usually sung by a young woman, and it's pleading her dear Papa, please let me marry that beautiful boyfriend of mine. Please. That's the song.
Something about that voice turns me all spiritual all of a sudden. Wow. Sublime. I think we've reached the portion of our program now where we're going to begin our first audience sing-along, and to lead us in that regard is none other than Rebecca. Hi. That's what my notes say, so. And one more thing, Rebecca, you'll be introducing the theatrical sketch as soon as this is over. The Hartland Holiday Players.
All right, so next in your program, can you all hear me? Yes? Okay, great. I don't even need a mic. So next in your program is a theatrical sketch by the Hartland Holiday Players.
Once upon a time, there was a priest, and his name was Father Pat Flanagan. This priest wanted to help people to feel hopeful during the holidays, so he set up the Holiday Hope Line. So if people were feeling lost or lonely or down in any way, they could call the Holiday Hope Line, and Father Pat and his volunteers would try to lift their spirits. It worked real well last year, so he thought he would try it again this year.
What is the best way to increase the fire in the fireplace? Throw another log on it. Why didn't I think of that? That's it. Amy, welcome. Merry Christmas to you, darling. Go ahead, make yourself at home. I got you all set up. I'm just checking on a little information here. What is the best way to increase revenue on bingo nights? Increase the cost of the cars. That's a good one. That's good. Thanks. Bottoms up. Amy, Merry Christmas. Welcome back. We're doing it again this year. It's the Holiday Hope Line. Now, as you know, the holidays can cause a lot of stress for people, and we're here to help them out. They're going to be calling in, we're going to take their calls, and we're going to give them hope. Are you ready?
I have never been more ready in my life!
That's fantastic. Oh, by the way, before you get started, check this out. It's a fox, a chicken, and a cow giving a farmer a haircut. I'll tell you what, the worldwide interweb, it's fascinating. Bring, 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 bring.
Holiday Hope Line, this is Amy. What? A goat? Goats? How many goats? 1, 2? Well, we know there is only one goat, and we can all agree his name is Tom Brady.
Happy holidays. Who is this? Hi, Mrs. Potter. This is Maeve. What's that? There are 2 ghosts roaming around your property? Happy holidays. Oh. Hi, Mrs. Potter. Christmas is a...
Call the animal shelter guy.
Call the animal shelter guy. His name is Jim Armbruster. His number is 802-291-2277. Goodbye.
Amy, check this out. It's a picture of a Christmas tree, right? But in the middle of it is a kitty cat wearing pajamas taking a selfie. It's fascinating stuff, I'm telling you. Bring, bring, bring.
Holiday Helpline. How can I help you? Oh, your partner's mad at you because you're staring at your cell phone? Well, I don't blame them. I'd be mad too. My ex was always staring at his cell phone, and that's why he's my ex. And another thing.
Happy holidays. Who's this? Hi, Mr. Thompson. Christmas is about presents, as in presents of mine. You know, like being present? That's right. The best gift you can give to someone is the gift of being present, fully present. And when you stare at your mobile device, you're not being present.
Wait, no, stop.
Hi, Mr. Thompson. Guess what? Father Pat just threw his phone in the fireplace because he wants to inspire us all to be fully present. That's right. Father Pat says the best gift you can give to someone during the holidays is to be fully present. Isn't that right, Father Pat? So try it, okay? Goodbye.
Bring, bring.
Holiday Helpline, this is Amy. Christmas tree lights? What about them? You don't have enough? Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry for you. Not having enough Christmas tree lights is like a martini glass. Without a martini!
Happy holidays. Who's this? Hi, Mrs. Crockett. Christmas tree lights are important, but they're not the most important light. The most important light is the light that shines from within. Hi, Mrs. Crockett. Yeah, so the best? We all have a light inside of us. It comes from our heart and shines through our eyes. And this light is what keeps us all connected. Let your inner light shine and you'll feel just fine. And don't drink too much because it will put out your light. Goodbye.
Yeah. Huh. Don't drink too much. I think I can do that. Yeah, I can do that.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We're leaving now. Remember, don't drink too much because we'll put out your light. Sorry I threw your phone in the fireplace, but I needed to do something dramatic. Merry Christmas.
They gave me a present.
Oh my goodness.
It's another cell phone. Oh.
You're not going to open it right now, are you?
Well, of course I'm not. No, I don't need to open it right now.
Because the best present you can give is to be present.
The best present you can give is to be present. Hey, that's got a nice ring to it. And I'm back. Okay, so, up next is Sandyland and Vincent of Windsor. They've been performing in the Upper Valley for many years, and tonight they're going to play a song created by their friend Frank Hine called Golden Light. Let's give it up for Sandyland, everybody.
That was a perfect skit, wasn't it? Wonderful. So we're going to be singing a song called Golden Light, and it's just like what the girls said, the light from within comes from within us to each other through our eyes and our hearts and our deeds, and that's pretty much what this song is about. A friend of ours wrote it, Frank Hine, and I think it was in response to the Thomas fire, which was, I think, in 2017. I was there and went through that, and there was an album made, and people were chosen for their holiday songs that they wrote and put on this album, and that's how Frank's song started. He wrote it for that, and he did get into the album. I'm sorry, I don't know what the name of it is, but we're reachable. We live in Windsor, so if you want to know, I'm going to find out, and we can tell you about that. Vincent and I have been playing together since COVID struck, like 3 days or a week before COVID lockdown happened. We met at Old South Church, and we're playing an open mic there. So he played one of his original songs, 3 of them, and one of them had a chord change in the middle of it, and it's like, wait a minute, that's what I would write. I really get that. And I had been looking for a duo partner for maybe 8 years at that point, and invited him to come and share more of his songs, and I would show my songs. And we did that. and it was a 3-hour session, which felt like 5 minutes. And so we started a show called Social from Home, Sandyland and Vincent during COVID, so that people could come to premieres twice a month and meet and have us show a show that we put together twice a month from 2 different houses, over the internet. We had to do the mixing and the music, and it was really something. So it lasted until lockdown was over, and it's still on YouTube. We've got about 70 songs, and we decided, oh great, well now we can play in the same room at the same time. We know 70 songs, no problem. We want to get out there and start playing. And we found out that there's a big difference between playing live and recording. You can start and stop and start and stop. So we spent 1 year relearning all the songs and practicing. We still practice almost every night. But anyway, we can play 3 hours straight at least without stopping, we found out. So here's the song you're here to listen to. Thank you.
And for those of you who are wondering what this is, these are tuning forks.
Tuning horns. That's my Vincent. Okay. I just want to say this beginning of the song, if you have ever been outside while it was snowing and there's a light or a street light maybe or a house light and you see the snowflakes flurrying by it, like you can see it in the shadow of the light or the light of the shadow. So that's what I imagine when I play the entry to this song, or the intro, we could call it. Okay. All right.
Put the volume up on the guitar.
Oh, thank you.
You're not plugged in?
Oh, am I plugged in? Oh.
There we go.
Is that the one? Okay.
Too many wires.
Check. Whoops. Wait a minute. It's gonna buzz. Can we mute this first? Okay.
Okay. There we go.
We have to spare everybody.
All's bliss.
I'm gonna turn my guitar up a little bit. There we go. Okay. Well, we're just really honored to be part of this wonderful community and show.
Yes.
Okay. One. It's the end of the year, and we stand here, bathed in golden light, tallying wrong and right. The light on your skin, I feel it again. Christmas is near. Oh, 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 oh. Bathed in golden light. Oh, 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 oh. On this silent night. So it would seem, the light in our dreams, we live it every day. What we do and say, so stick with me, we both will see what it's all about, how this dream turns out. Bathed in golden light. Maybe this year
next year. May we all gather here, bathed in golden light, telling wrong and right. On this silent night, on this holy night, on this silent night, on this holy
Yes.
Yes?
Yep.
All right. Here you go.
Okay, coming up next is none other than Daniel Patterson. Dan is a retired theater professor who has a lot of experience in all things related to theater. He's another new HCA board member here in Hartland, and he's going to entertain us all with the story of Dancing Dan's Christmas, written by Alfred Damon Runyon. Daniel Patterson, everybody.
Hello. In keeping with my policy of trying to find the most unique and eccentric and sometimes dubious literary merit pieces for this particular endeavor, I came up with a piece by Damon Runyon. Now, a lot of you probably may not remember Damon Runyon. He was best known for his short stories celebrating the world of New York in the Prohibition era. Now, for those of you who didn't learn this in school, there was a time in this country when you could not purchase alcoholic beverages. It was illegal. It was called Prohibition. And out of that grew a cottage industry of all kinds of illegal goings-on. New Yorkers of his generation, a Damon Runyon character evoked a distinctive social type from Brooklyn or Midtown Manhattan. The adjective Runyonesque refers to this type of character and the type of situations and dialogue that Runyon depicts. He was fascinated by these sort of, I guess you would call them colorful, eccentric, unique, drunk idiots. And they all thought, because it was the gangster era, that they were going to be gangsters. And of course, none of them ever did. They were just petty criminals, con men, and alcoholics, basically. He spun humorous and sentimental tales of gamblers, hustlers, actors, and gangsters who go by colorful nicknames such as Nathan Detroit, Benny South Street, Big Julie, Harry the Horse, Good Time Charlie, Dave the Dude, and the Seldom Seen Kid. In fact, most of you probably know some of those names from his most famous short stories, which became the basis for the Broadway musical Guys and Dolls. And, of course, a movie by the same name with Marlon Brando and that other skinny guy with the good voice. So, anyway, this is a piece called Dancin' Dan's Christmas. So now, One time it comes on Christmas, and it is in fact the evening before Christmas. And I am in Good Time Charlie's little speakeasy in West 45th Street, wishing him, Charlie, a Merry Christmas and having, you know, a few hot Tom and Jerry's with him. This hot Tom and Jerry is an old-time drink that is once used by one and all in this country to celebrate Christmas. And in fact, it is once so popular that many people think Christmas is invented only to furnish an excuse for a hot Tom and Jerry's. Although, of course, this is by no means true. But anybody will tell you that there is nothing that brings out the true holiday spirit like a hot Tom and Jerry. And I hear that since Tom and Jerry goes out of style in the United States, the holiday spirit is never quite the same. Well, as Good Time Charlie and I are expressing our holiday sentiments to each other over our hot Tom and Jerry's, I am trying to think up a poem about, you know, the night before Christmas and all through the house, which I know will interest Charlie no little. All of a sudden, there's a big knock on the front door. And when Charlie opens the door, who comes in carrying a large package under one arm, but a guy by the name of Dancin' Dan. This Dancin' Dan is a good-looking guy. He always seems well-dressed. And he is called by the name of Dancin' Dan because he is a great hand for dancing around with dolls in the nightclubs, you know, and other spots where there is any dancing. In fact, Dan never seems to be doing anything else. Although I hear rumors that when he is not dancing, he does carry on in a most illegal manner, at one thing and another. But of course, you always hear rumors about that about anybody. Personally, I am rather fond of Dancin' Dan, as he always seems to be getting a great belt out of life, you know. Although I wish to say, I always question his judgment in dancing so much with Miss Muriel O'Neill, who works at the Half Moon nightclub. And the reason I question his judgment in this respect is because, well, everybody knows that Miss Muriel O'Neill is a doll who is very well thought of by Heine Schmitz. And Heine Schmitz is not such a guy as will take kindly to anybody dancing more than once and a half with a doll that he thinks well of. But Dancin' Dan goes on dancing with Miss Muriel anytime he gets a chance. And Good Time Charlie says he does not blame him at that, as Miss Muriel is so terse that he would be dancing with her himself if only he could be 5 years younger. Well, anyway, as Dancin' Dan comes in, he weighs up the joint in one quick peek, and then he tosses the package he is carrying into a corner where it goes plump. And remember that, because it's going to come back. As if there is something very heavy in it. And then he steps up to the bar alongside of Charlie and me, wishes to know what we are drinking. Well, normally we start boosting Tom and Jerry's to Dancin' Dan. He says he will take a crack at it with us. After one crack, Dancin' Dan says, well, maybe he'll have another crack. And Merry Christmas to us. Well, okay, several times we are drinking. Customers come to the door of Good Time Charlie's. But by now Charlie is commencing to be afraid they will all want Tom and Jerry's too, and he does not feel we will have enough. So he hangs out a sign which says, closed on account of Christmas. And the only one he will let in is a guy by the name of Ookie, who is nothing but an old rum-dum, and who was going around all week dressed like Santa Claus, carrying a sign advertising Molinsky's clothing joint around 6th Avenue. Well, it is about 9:30 when Ookie comes in. His feet are aching. He is all petered out from walking up and down and carrying his sign. For any time a guy is Santa Claus for Mo Lewinsky, he must earn his dough. In fact, Ookie is so fatigued and his feet hurt him so much, Dancin' Dan and Good Time Charlie and I all feel very sorry for him, invite him to have a few mugs of hot Tom and Jerry with us. And we wish him plenty of Merry Christmas. But old Ookie is not accustomed to the Tom and Jerry's. After about the 5th mug, he folds up in a chair, goes right to sleep on us. He's wearing a pretty good Santa Claus makeup, you know, with a nice red suit trimmed with white cotton and a wig and a false nose and long whiskers and a big sack stuffed with cotton on his back. If I didn't know Santa Claus is not apt to be such a kind of a guy, I would think Ookie is Santa Claus, sure enough. By and along about midnight, Dancing Dan wishes to see how he looks as Santa Claus. So old good time Charlie and I helped Dancing Dan pull off Ookie's outfit and put it on Dan. Well, I wish to say I've seen many a Santa Claus in my time, but I never see a better looking Santa Claus than Dancing Dan, especially after he gets that wig and the white whiskers fixed just right. And we put a sofa pillow down his pants, give Dancing Dan a nice fat stomach, as Santa Claus is said to have had. And in fact, after Dancing Dan looks at himself in a mirror, he is greatly pleased with his appearance. Well, good time Charlie is practically hysterical. Well, Charlie finally says, "It is a great pity we do not know where there is some stockings hung up somewhere, because then you could go around and stuff these stockings," as I always hear that this is the main idea of what Santa Claus does. But Charlie says, "I do not suppose anybody in this part of town has any stockings hung up, or if they have," he says, "the chances are they're so full of holes they won't hold anything anyway." Charlie says, "Even if there are stockings up, we do not have anything to stuff them with. Although personally," he says, "I would gladly put up a few pints of rye." Well, I am pointing out that we have no reindeer, and that Santa Claus is bound to look like a terrible sap if he goes around without any reindeer. But Charlie's remarks seem to give Dancing Dan an idea. For all of a sudden he says, "Well, I know where there is a stocking hung up. It's hung up at Miss Muriel O'Neill's flat over in West 45th Street. This stocking is hung up by nobody but a party by the name of Gamma O'Neill, who is Miss Muriel's grandmama." Dancing Dan says Gamma O'Neill's going on 90-odd years old. Now, Dancing Dan says, "I remember Miss Muriel was telling me just the other night how Gamma O'Neill hangs up her stocking on Christmas Eve all her life. And Miss Muriel says that the old doll always believes Santa Claus will come along some Christmas and fill that stocking full of beautiful gifts. But Dancing Dan says Miss Muriel tells me Santa has never done this. Although Miss Muriel personally always takes a few gifts home, pops them in the stocking to make Miss Gamma O'Neill feel better. But of course, Dancing Dan says the gifts are nothing much, because Miss Muriel's very poor and proud and also good and will not take a dime off of anybody. And I can lick a guy who says anything else." Well, anyway, I know that Dancing Dan states about Miss Muriel O'Neill is quite true. And in fact, it is a matter that is often discussed on Broadway, because Miss Muriel cannot get more than $20 a week working for the Half Moon. It is well known to one and all, this is no kind of dough for a doll as beautiful as Miss Muriel O'Neill. Now, Dancing Dan goes on. "It seems that while Gamma O'Neill is very happy to get whatever she finds in a stocking on Christmas morning, she does not understand why Santa Claus is not more liberal. And he says, Miss Muriel is saying to me that she only wishes she could give Gamma O'Neill one really big Christmas before the old doll checks out. So Dancing Dan says, here is a job for us. Miss Muriel and her grandmama live all alone in this flat over on West 49th Street, and he says, at such an hour as this, Miss Muriel is bound to be working. The chances are Gamma O'Neill is sound asleep. We will just hop over there and have Santa fill up her stockings with beautiful gifts. Well, I say, I do not see where we are going to get any beautiful gifts at this time of night. You know, what with all the stores being closed. Unless we dash into an all-night drugstore and buy a few bottles of perfume, as, you know, guys always do whenever they forget their ever-loving wives until after all the stores are closed anyway. But Dancing Dan says, never mind about this. Let us have a few more Tom and Jerry's. So we do. And then Dancing Dan picks up the package he heaved in the corner and dumps most of the cotton out of Ookie's Santa Claus bag. He puts his bundle in the bag, and Good Time Charlie turns out all the lights but one, leaves a bottle of real scotch on the table as a Christmas gift in case, you know, the real guy should show up. And away we go. Personally, I regret very much leaving the hot Tom and Jerry's. but that I am also very enthusiastic about going along to help Dancing Dan play Santa Claus. While Good Time Charlie is practically overjoyed, as it is the first time in his life Charlie is ever mixed up in such holiday spirit. In fact, nothing will do for Charlie but that we stop in a couple of spots and have a few drinks to Santa Claus's health. And these visits are a big success, although everybody is so much surprised to see Charlie and me with the real Santa Claus. Anyway, as we go up Broadway, headed for 49th Street, Charlie and I see many citizens we know. We give them a large hello and wish them Merry Christmas. And some of these citizens shake hands with Santa Claus, not knowing he is Dancing Dan. Although later I understand there is some gossip among these citizens because they claim a Santa Claus with such a breath on him is maybe just a little sacrilegious. Well, we finally arrive in front of the place where Dancing Dan says Miss Muriel and her grandmama lived. It is nothing but a tenement house not far back of Madison Square Garden. And therefore, furthermore, it is a walk-up. And at this time, there are no lights burning in the joint. And we look at the names on the letterboxes, such as you find in the hallways in these joints, and we see that Miss Muriel and her grandmama live on the 5th floor. Well, this is the top floor. Now, I personally do not like the idea of walking up 5 flights of stairs. I am willing to let Dancing Dan and Good Time Charlie go, but Dancing Dan insists that we all go, and finally I agree, because Charlie is commencing to argue that the right way is for us to go up on the roof and get Santa Claus to go down a chimney. And he's making so much noise about it, I'm afraid he may actually try it. Well, so up the stairs we climb. Finally, we come to a door on the top floor that has a little card in a slot that says O'Neill. So we've now reached our destination. Dancing Dan first tries the knob. Right away, the door opens. And we are in a little 2 or 3 room flat, not much furniture. What furniture there is very poor. One single light burning near a bed in a room just off the one door. And by this light, we see a very old doll sleeping on a bed. And we judge this is nobody but Gamma O'Neill. On her face is a large smile, as if she is dreaming of something very pleasant. On a chair at the head of the bed is hung a long black stocking. It seems to be such a stocking as is often patched and mended. So I can see what Miss Muriel tells Dancing Dan about her grandmama hanging up her stocking is really true. Dancing Dan stands looking down at Gamma O'Neill for a long time. Finally, he unslings the pack on his back and takes out his package and unties his package, and all of a sudden out pops a raft of big diamond bracelets and diamond rings and diamond brooches and diamond necklaces. I do not know what all else in the way of diamonds. And Dancing Dan and I begin stuffing these diamonds into the stocking, and Good Time Charlie pitches in and helps. There are enough diamonds to fill that stocking up to the muzzle, and this is no small stocking. I judge that Gamma O'Neill must have had a pretty fair set of games when she was younger. In fact, there are so many diamonds we will have enough left over to make a nice little pile on the chair. So that when she wakes up, well, anyway, we leave a nice diamond-studded vanity case sticking out of the top. We figure Gamma O'Neill's eyes will see it when she wakes up. And as it is not until I get out into fresh air that all of a sudden I remember seeing large headlines in the afternoon papers about a 500 grand stick-up in the afternoon of one of the biggest diamond merchants in the city. And I also recall hearing rumors that Dancing Dan is one of the best safe crackers in the world. Well, naturally, I commenced to wonder if I am in the proper company, even if he is Santa Claus. So I leave him on the next corner arguing with Good Time Charlie about how they ought to go and try to find some more stockings and some more presents. And I hasten to go on home and go to bed. The next day I find I have such a noggin that I do not care to stir around. But later I do. And I drop into Good Time Charlie's little speakeasy and ask Charlie what he's doing. Well, Charlie says many things are doing. And personally, I am greatly surprised do not see you at Gamma O'Neill's wake. You know, Gamma O'Neill leaves this wicked old world the day after Christmas. Good Time Charlie says, and he says, Miss Muriel states that Doc Moggs claims she is so overcome by the shock of finding her stockings filled with such beautiful gifts on Christmas morning. According to Miss Muriel O'Neill, Charlie says, Gamma O'Neill's dies convinced that there is a Santa Claus. So Charlie says everything is quite all right. The coppers cannot figure anything out. Miss Muriel receives a 10 grand award for finding the diamonds and returning them. And Charlie says Miss Muriel is going to marry old Dancing Dan because she hears rumors that he had something to do with it. Big surprise. She doesn't hold it against him that the old lady croaked, seeing as how she got to see Santa Claus. And as she said, what a way to go. Well, Charlie, I says, it is a Merry Christmas anyway. Well, all right, Charlie says, Merry Christmas anyway, and have another hot Tom and Jerry. And so we do until it is the new year.
Thank you, Daniel Patterson. Okay, that's the end of Act 1. We'll take a brief intermission. Just kidding. Basically, here's how we're going to roll for the rest of the show, which is probably another maybe 10 or 15 minutes, perhaps. We have Emma Caffrey coming back up to sing one of her signature songs, Oh Holy Night, followed by what will be a group sing-along. We'll open up the house lights and sing Silent Night, and then Rebecca will lead the Hartland Holiday Choir in several songs, and then we'll all head home and get in our comfy clothes. How's that sound? Thanks, everybody. Emma Caffrey.
All right, let's try that again, y'all. I'm sorry.
Good, can you see that? So before we get started, I promise I will not talk a lot, but I just wanted to say just a brief thing that you'll see some names on the program of people who are not here tonight because of illness. So this year's choir has sort of existed in flex, and it's wonderful that we have these singers here tonight, and we hope you enjoy. The main goal of tonight's choir set and this season's choir set is singing for community and belonging. Hopefully that fosters that in you as well.
Just like two birds, let's take them one before.
ships come sailing in on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. I saw 3 ships come sailing in on Christmas Day in the morning. And what was in those ships, all 3, on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day? And what was in those ships, all 3, on Christmas Day in the morning?
Our Savior Christ and His Lady on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Our Savior Christ and His Lady on Christmas Day in the morning.
Pray with us sail those ships, all 3, on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Pray with us sail those ships, all 3, on Christmas Day in the morning.
Oh, they sailed into Bethlehem on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Oh, they sailed into Bethlehem on Christmas Day in the morning.
And all the bells on earth shall ring on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. And all the bells on earth shall ring on Christmas Day in the morning. And all the bells, and all the bells, and all the bells on Christmas Day. And all the souls on earth shall sing on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. And all the souls on earth shall sing on Christmas Day in the morning. Let us all rejoice, amen, on Christmas Day, on Christmas Day. Then let us all rejoice, amen, on Christmas Day in the morning. Child.
special thanks to Chiho for pulling double duty, and also thanks so much to Jim and to Jan for accompanying us. Super helpful, couldn't do it without them. So thank you. Before our last piece, I just wanted to say thank you, Hartland, for being here. This is a really beautiful thing that this town does. And I think it's a really nice way to start or continue our holiday season. So thank you so much for coming out.
So beautiful. It was just absolutely beautiful. Then thank you, Hartland. Thank you for showing up tonight. Happy holidays. We hope we brought you a little joy, a little laughter, a little love tonight in your hearts. I hope it's a great way to kick off the holiday. And before you go, Julie Abernathy.
Thank you so much. And, you know, I can't tell you how good it feels to be on the stage, the lights on, the hall looking so lovely, and just this whole place coming to life again. Not many towns enjoy the presence of a community-based and volunteer-run arts organization like Hartland Community Arts. We believe that the arts, especially community-based arts, are life-affirming and a positive presence in our community. We hope you share our commitment to ensuring the presence of HCA in the future. We hope that you have read the program insert and will consider signing our petition in the hallway. And finally, I would like to show our appreciation for those who are the backbone of the holiday show. They create, direct, and support the success of the show. We couldn't do it without them. So please come forward to receive a poinsettia as our thank you. That would be for Jan, the piano accompanist. Just hand that with one of the Jim, drums. Rebecca, our choral director. The Jan crew who recorded this evening for us. And of course, our wonderful MC, RJ. Happy holidays to each and all. Blessings to you.